Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Bergman. Mr. Geiger.
Thank you very much for holding this hearing on the important issue of IoT security and for giving me the opportunity to testify on behalf of Rapid7. Rapid7 is a cybersecurity and data analytics company. We have a headcount of about 1,300 people and 7,800 customers worldwide, and we partner closely with security and IT firms to empower organizations to securely advance and to protect their users. We have 4 recommendations for the committee. First, Congress should pass data security legislation. Security of personal information is fundamental to privacy and must be included in any privacy legislation. This is distinct from breach notification. Legislation that requires reasonable, risk-based security for personal information will apply to IoT devices that collect and process that information. Because the requirement for reasonable security would be tied to a definition of personal information rather than a definition of IoT, it would cut across IoT deployments in various sectors and encompass the other technologies that integrate with an IoT device. Many IoT vulnerabilities implicate personal information, such as credentials, audiovisual recordings, and geolocation, and a federal data security law would require better IoT security in sectors that are otherwise not covered by the jurisdiction of federal agencies. Second, Congress should support enforceable agency actions on IoT security. Federal agencies have domain expertise and existing authority to require basic IoT security within their areas of jurisdiction, such as the FDA for medical devices, NHTSA for cars, CPSC for product safety, FAA for drones, and OMB for government procurement. Many agencies, but not all, have begun the work of clearly describing their expectations for IoT security. Congress should support these efforts and exercise its oversight role to ensure that these efforts are effective. This should include security by design principles and industry standards and not rely solely on voluntary guidance. For the most part, basic IoT security precautions are already widely recognized. The problem is lack of adoption. Third, Congress should facilitate programs to help consumers identify secure IoT devices. Consumers purchasing IoT devices often have little insight into whether that device is secure. Rapid7 recommends that Congress support voluntary consumer awareness programs, such as certifications, seals, or labels, like Energy Star or the nutrition label, to let consumers know whether an IoT device has critical security features. Providing consumers with clear information about security features in IoT devices will foster market competition based on security, build trust in the security of IoT products, and help consumers fulfill their role in maintaining security. Fourth and last, Congress should avoid new regulations that chill beneficial security research. Any new regulations related to IoT should not impose blanket access or use restrictions that hinder independent research and repair. Time and again, good faith researchers or white hat hackers have discovered and reported IoT vulnerabilities, often in coordination with IoT manufacturers. And these prompt patches and other mitigations that ultimately protect consumers. Independent researchers will be critical to match the growing need for security as IoT devices are more widely deployed. Members of the committee, IoT security, if we're going to do it right, will require a societal response. There are many, many different types of IoT, and IoT is integrated within an ecosystem of other technologies. The specific security needs for these different IoT deployments and different technologies will vary. So there is no single solution, but there are important roles for government, for manufacturers and operators, as well as for consumers to play. The federal government need not accept the premise that its only role on IoT security is that of a convener. We can and we should expect basic protections for IoT devices and for personal information. The technical and the policy barriers are not insurmountable. These digital devices are coming online at an unprecedented rate, and failure to integrate reasonable security now will result in a wave of cybersecurity risk that will linger in enterprises, households, and infrastructure for some time to come. Unsecure IoT devices will be like the new asbestos. We will build them into our environments, only to have to rip them back out years later and wonder why our predecessors did not have the forethought to ensure basic security from the start. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Great. Well, thank you to all the witnesses.